Okay, Kipsters, this is the start of 6th grade math and our unit was about fractions, and I start with this screen because this is the biggest, most important idea about fractions. They are just like numbers too. Just because it says 2/3 and 4/5 and 7/8 and 7/3, you could still multiply, add, compare, all that stuff just like if they were regular whole numbers, like 7, 8, 9, 10. Same idea. And since fractions are numbers too, you can put them on number lines. And most number lines you see will be cut up into different pieces, and sometimes will have a 0 and 1 on them on the ends. Sometimes the 1 will be moved over. Sometimes there'll be 2 or 3 on there. Doesn't matter where your 0 and your 1 or any of your whole numbers are. The most important thing to find out what's called a unit fraction for any given number line is to look at the two whole numbers. Ignore all this stuff on the left. Ignore all this stuff on the right. Just look for two whole numbers and count the number of equal pieces that are between the two whole numbers. In this case, 1, 2, 3 equal pieces, which means that this number line is cut up into thirds, and our unit fraction is 1/3. And once you know your unit fraction, everything else on the number line can be written out of 3. For example, 0 can be written 0 out of 3. 2/3. 1 is the same as 3/3, and you can keep going. 4/3, 5/3, and so on. On Wednesday, what we did was we took a fraction, any fraction on the number line, and our goal was to find the whole, or 1. And this is a very important thing to be able to do, and sometimes it's easier than others. As in this case, I give you where 1/4 is. So there's our 0. And there's going to 1/4. But if you know where 1/4 is, then 2/4 is naturally 2 units of 1/4. Then 3/4, 4/4, and that's equal to 1 whole. So finding our whole here, not so difficult when you're given 1/4 or any unit fraction. However, things can get a little trickier if I give you something that's not a unit fraction like 7/5. Because unit fractions are fractions with a numerator of 1. What if I give you a numerator like 7? Well, you still need to think of what the unit fraction is, and the unit fraction for 7/5 is just 1/5. So we need to count by 1/5, do our multiples of 1/5, and get to 7/5. But watch this. It's not always that simple. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 6/5. Look at that big jump to 7/5. You cannot say that 5/5, that this is where 1 whole is on this number line, because our number line isn't cut up into equal pieces. We have 6 equal pieces over here, but not every single piece, because look at that big piece at the end. That is not where 5/5 is, and that's what makes this tricky. We now have to erase it and try again, and make sure that we're drawing fifths that are equal all the way up to the fraction we're looking for. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 6/5, 7/5. Those are perfectly equal pieces. And therefore, we can say that 1 whole on this number line would be right where my pointer is pointing. Equal pieces, super important. And finding the whole is a very important thing. As we learned on Thursday, you were given a fraction. And you weren't asked to find the whole, though you will need to. In this case, you were asked to find a fraction with a different denominator. So in this case, the fraction I gave you was 3/4. Its denominator is fourths. I asked you to find something like 2/3 where the denominator is 3. A lot trickier to do. But the same step that you took yesterday is the first step you're going to take today. It's called finding the whole. So you have 0, you have 3/4. Ignore the 2/3 and just figure out where 1 whole is on this number line. And that's not too tricky. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. There's a whole. You can keep going to 5/4 and 6/4, but the most important thing was to find where the whole is. Now you know where 1 whole is. Now we're going to erase everything except for the whole and find where 2/3 is. We did our first step, erase everything. 2/3. Well, I know this number line needs to be broken up into thirds. We're finding the fraction 2/3. There's 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Good way to check is to make sure that your whole is, if it's thirds, it should be 3 on top, 3 on the bottom. 3 over 3 makes 1 whole. Our quest for this little problem was to find where 2/3 is, so I put the dot there, and then we're done. Okay, so 2 steps. If I give you a fraction on a number line and you're asked to find a fraction with a different denominator, find the whole, erase everything, and then find the fraction that you're looking for. Now, on Friday, what we did was we ordered fractions, and I give you 3 fractions up here, all with different denominators: 1/6, 3/4, and 5/8. Okay? Though you could do this all on one number line, it would be a little complicated, involve a lot of erasing, and I received a suggestion from another Kipster named Matthew about doing it on multiple number lines, so I wanted to show how that would be done. Take 1/6, for example. Draw that on the number line. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6, 7/6. Go on until you find a whole, because finding the whole is important. But also in this case, finding 1/6 is important. Here's our whole. And this is the most important part. You cannot compare or order fractions on a number line if you don't know where the whole is. Because look, we're going to start doing 3/4. You can't just do 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 like I did. You have to make sure when comparing fractions that you're comparing them to the same whole. Now that I brought the whole down, now I can draw a fraction that is in fourths to locate exactly where 3/4 would be. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and a good way to check, again, go all the way out to the whole, 4/4. Those are perfectly equal pieces, and now I know where 3/4 is. Let's do one more. We have 5/8. Same idea. You better make sure you put the whole in the same place on each number line, otherwise you're not comparing to the same unit. So, make 5/8 8 equal pieces. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. Again, a great way to check. Go all the way out to the whole. You have 8 equal pieces. 5/8 is right there. So now we have 1/6, 3/4, and 5/8. It's not too difficult now to see and to order these fractions. And one way to order them is from least to greatest. The fraction that is furthest to the right on the number line is the greatest. It's closer to 1. The fraction closest to 0 or furthest to the left is the smallest one. So in this case, the smallest one out of all of these that I see is 1/6. And the way we would use an inequality sign is to say that 1/6 is less than, well, the next smallest one would be 5/8 because that's closest to the left. And then 5/8 is less than 3/4. So that's a great way to order fractions on a number line.